Good day, my neighbors. My name is William Jackson. Here on Facebook, you see that I'm noted as Bill Jackson. And the purpose of this video today is to introduce you to a novel that I was led to draft during March of 2015. Here we are in March of 2018, and the book is now available. I was successful by God's grace to have the work published. I'd like to introduce it to you even now. Here is the cover. Let me back up a little bit. And it's entitled, The People versus the United States. Now, why would I write this book? Well, my neighbors, we are the people of this nation, and we put our institutions in place to serve us. And what I was led to see is that over the years, our republic is deteriorating rapidly. And I was, in prayer. I'm a prayer person prayer that is. And the Lord started to speak to me about what's going on around us. So, as the case was, I began to be obedient, starting to write the book. And the next thing you know, a novel was produced. I don't really like to talk about myself too much, so let's just get to the book itself, okay? And what I'd like to do is read something that the Lord gave me while I was drafting the story. It's kind of radical, okay? So just a heads up on that. But bear with me for a second as I locate this particular section I'd like to read to you, okay? And it goes, bear with me. The Father and his Son sat upon their thrones, looking down upon the earth. The Son turned to the Father and asked, how much longer will the poor upon the earth need to endure the ravishing of the wealthy through their use of kleptocracy, as well as their wicked manipulation of resources, Father? The Father pondered the question and then offered his Son an answer. Jesus, when my people acquiesce to the system that is placed before them, only to allow themselves to be treated like a herd of beasts without the will to rise above their condition, what else can I do but continue to send them messengers with the express duty of informing them to turn from that system? It is only in seeing that system for what it is that they can recover themselves from the wicked one. The wicked one. The wicked one is the unique architect and engineer of this system that is at work now against us. Not just manifested, in the physical realm, but he's also at work in the spiritual realm. And this is a God-fearing country. How do I know that? On our currency, on the very back of our $1 bill, for instance, it says, in God we trust. In God we trust. So if we trust God, we know that God exists. We know that God has expectations. And if we are not obedient to those expectations, because he's a just God, a righteous God, a holy God, he is going to institute judgment. So let me continue here. Jesus asked, and Jesus is the Son of the living God, what system is that you are referring to, Father? The Father continued, Jesus, as it stands in their concept of today, the people of the earth have bought into the credit system, acquiring things that they could not reasonably afford, immersing themselves into greater amounts of debt, enslaving themselves to the architects of that system. They go to their jobs, expend great amounts of time and effort for wages that will not be able to contribute adequately to their debt reconciliation. The only logical solution then is to dismantle that system. But Father, Jesus said, you and I have been watching the state of affairs develop for quite some time now. The people of the earth appear to trust their supposed leaders implicitly, without questioning the polity that is in place. Is this lack of accountability of their leaders to them a factor, such that their leaders exploit them without bonds? Sound familiar? Again, the Father thought about what Jesus asked and said, Jesus, if my people could see the nightmare I believe they would flee from it. Jesus said, "Please explain, Father." The Father continued, "If they would revolt against any system that oppresses them with intelligence and diligence, they would prevail. They must purpose in their hearts to trust me as they do so. Their leaders are not only enslaving their minds, but also their souls. And you and I both know that their souls are mine alone. What I envision is that if they would collectively form their protest with a unified absent from their workplaces for one day, then they would get the attention of their politicians, bankers, manufacturers, vendors, religious counselors, and the like. What would their bosses do? Fire them en masse? Jesus said, "No, I don't believe that would be an option that they could exercise. But some recriminations would follow, correct?" The Father continued, "Yes, their taskmasters would would strategize. Yes, I am human. Their taskmasters would strategize. Their taskmasters would strategize against them. But as long as they look to me for my grace during it all, they could rest assured that I would not leave them or forsake them. My servant Daniel has already shared that those who truly know me will be strong and do exploits." "Exploits, Father?" Jesus said. "Yes, son, exploits," the Father stated. "They must reconcile the meaning of that term through their fellowship with me. I must reveal to them their specific roles, their specific means, just as I did with Noah during his generation." "Ah, I see, Father," Jesus said. "You alone can provide the way of escape. But when all has been said and done, those who look back upon your engineering will be able to attribute the glory of it all to you." "Exactly," said the Father. "I'm just waiting for them all to come to their senses and realize that they all have been made in my image and in my likeness. It is not my desire that any of them should perish. On the contrary, I want them to be with me where I am, just as you learned while you were with them." So, in a manner of speaking, that kleptocratic scene upon the earth is your way of getting their attention? Asked Jesus. The Father answered, "Yes, it is. I chasten all those who I love. I do not intend to destroy, but to admonish. I do not intend to oppress, but to remind them of their need for me and my wisdom exclusively." That's why I wrote the book, saints and saints to be, because God loves you. He loves you so much that he picked somebody like me to share. I appreciate your patience today. I encourage you to purchase a softcover. Read it to your family. Read it to your teenagers. Read it to your elderly. And also mobilize to share what you learned from this story in your community. It's available at Amazon.com in a paperback version and also as an eBook through their Kindle facility. It's also available at Barnes & Noble as a paperback and through their eBook facility known as the Nook. I encourage you to read it. It's not about me. It's about the message. Have a blessed day.